Hey, Sean here from speedcubeview.com. I went to a competition just a couple weeks ago, and I'm pretty happy with how I did. I got a new average with 2x2 and single with 2x2. So the single was about 3 seconds, the average was about 4 seconds. And for 3x3, I got my first sub 10, as well as another solve that was around 10.8 seconds, something like that. I'm going to walk through those solves. I'm going to start with 2x2 since those will go by pretty fast, and then 3x3, and talk about my thought process and how I got to those solves. None of them had skips of steps, but there was something really interesting with 2x2 I noticed. So let's start off with 2x2. Now all of these scrambles and solutions will be in the description, so you can also follow along. The first scramble, we have this, and the cube that I used for the competition was this one, the GAN 251, the original, which, wait, this is not that. Let me dump that out of the way. Here we go. This is the cube I used for the competition. Okay. Okay, here we go with the scramble finally. I messed up one letter in my inspection that I had written down before. I've been doing CLL mostly instead of Ortega. And looking at this scramble, there's a few pairs, but I don't like to see adjacent colors because that's a little more complicated to make a good solid first layer. I don't do what's called anti-CLL where you solve it then fix that bottom layer at the end, usually. But this blue, we've got red and orange, opposite colors. Great. So what I did, I needed to put this piece here, so U, R2, and then canceling into fixing the bottom layer. So instead of inserting this and then doing like R2, F2, R2, while I'm inserting this, I did B2, R2. So solve the first layer. And then this is just lefty soon. No AUF. Like I said, I'll put the scrambles and solutions in the description so you can just look at them and follow along on your own time if you want to spend a little more time with it. I'm not going to do too much with 2x2, just tell you my general thought process. Now this one, we have a couple nice starts. Green is pretty good here. Just insert one, fix the bottom layer. And we have yellow here, which is or red and yellow. And I just did that. I did yellow. So for here, now again, canceling in. I could solve that and then insert here. But after doing my U2, I did R prime, U, R prime. And then this goes right into the COLL or CLL and no AUF. Most of these CLLs are my CMLLs for a RU. Okay, so for here, that yellow in the back looked really nice. So I kept that because we have that pair and then opposite colors. So I did a Y prime to set up. And then we have this piece and this piece. So I first, now this one actually, let me take a step back. I was panicking a bit because I couldn't mentally figure out how to insert this piece and fix this bottom layer fluidly. So I inserted this and I did a rotation for like the first time in years on 2x2. So before I finished inserting, R, B2, R2, fix the bottom layer. Basically all I did was it's that, but while finishing it. And then here we have a nice, what is this? It's not soon, it's Nicholas, I believe. And no AUF. You might be seeing a pattern with the last layer. Okay, and here, I think this was a pretty rough one. There's no pairs anywhere. So I ended up having this white on bottom. And now I probably could have started better with an R move instead of an F move, but I just did an F move because I wasn't really thinking too much. So I did F2, and then inserted that pair. And then we just have one more, insert that. And now here, it's not the Nicholas case. It looks a lot like it with those pairs in the back, but it's a different algorithm. So we have here, it's inverse sledgehammer, U2, and then insert, and no AUF. And the last one. So already here, I knew I'd broken my single and my average. So this was just gravy. And we have a nice pair here. We've got that yellow in the back. I ended up going with this one. So I started with a Y prime and an X. So orange on bottom and back. And this first start was, again, I probably should have done some R moves. I did U prime F2 and then U and insert. And then from here, it is just triple sexy. No AUF. So I think one thing that helped me a lot was the AUF. I could just drop the puzzle and it wasn't another planning extra move. And that could have added, fractions of a second, which would have changed, my average, and probably not too much, but enough to where it's helped. And to not have a single AUF when I'm not planning on it is like over 1 in 1,000 chance for all 5 solves. Happy with that. Okay, let's go to 3x3. I need to open up CubeDB because I have my time saved on there. You can save your times in CubeDB, so you can do all your reconstructions, save all your reconstructions. You could subscribe to people so you can see all of theirs. I'll have a link below where you can see a lot of mine. Okay, so I'll first do my 10.66, then I'll do my 9-second solve. This is the cube I used. It's the Core Magnetized Tornado V2. And inspection, I've been doing white cross for a lot of things. I just default to that if I can't find anything. This was a little bit painful. Yellow wasn't too bad, but yeah, just did white cross. And we have orange, blue, green, red. So my thought process was first getting that blue down, moving it over, putting orange down, and then I could do this with F moves, but to more comfortably do it, I did a small rotation, and then L, B, L2, D2. From here, the first thing I saw was this orange and green, so R prime U2R, paired it up, and insert, which brought me right into those. That was a very easy spot. Insert that. From here, I saw the blue and orange, so I'll set that one up, insert, and then from here, RU prime, R prime U2, and then insert. This is the OLL, that's F, double inverse sexy. And then we have going right into a U perm. Nothing too complicated, just set up, insert. Let's go through the final one, the 9-second solve. Now, I'm not going super in depth with all the things I could have seen. And so if you have any questions on this, feel free to ask. If it goes by pretty fast and you just want to, see it again, slow down the video. You can do that with YouTube. Makes it a lot easier to follow along. So again, I'm going to do white cross. I didn't really see much here that stood out to me. Orange isn't too bad, but stuck with white. I'd rather do something that I know I can do fairly well. Okay, so we have orange, blue, green, and red. So my first setup was to do a D move and solve green and red. And then I can do almost the same thing with orange and blue. So I did an F prime, move red over, and then R prime, F prime. I did not notice that pair was going to be there. It was just a really nice coincidence. So that was my first solve. While I'm solving that, green and red stand right out. So very easy to just go right into it. While I'm solving that, this orange and green stand out really well. And here's kind of a mistake I made. I should have just done that with the rotation. But I did apparently, and I didn't realize I did this at the time. I looked back at my video. I did a D move and then insert. So I did Y, D, and then U instead of just rotating. And a really nice setup for this one. OLL. And then a U perm. So no skips really there, just a full step solve that was sub 10 seconds. It ended up being how many moves? Let's see if I can go back and check these moves. So it ended up being 54 moves. So about-ish 5 turns per second, which is standard for me. But just a nice solve for 3x3, and nice solves for 2x2 4x4 was okay. I didn't do anything crazy with that, and I'm not going to walk through one of those solves because reconstructing it will be a pain. But I do have some 4x4 reconstructions or just walkthrough solves on my channel if you're interested in that, especially for Hoya method, which is what I do and prefer. Thank you very much for watching. Leave your thoughts and questions in the comment section below. Hit like, subscribe for more content like this in the future, and it's always stop by speedcubeview.com for more news and reviews.